Group YouTube channels and collectives have always been a place on YouTube, and it seems every day there's a new group trying to make it on the video sharing scene. Some have large successes and others not so much. I actually think it's more commonplace for a YouTube group to fail. But today we are talking about one that seems to just keep succeeding, Any Means Possible, or properly known by the abbreviated term AMP. AMP is a group that mainly consists of 6 members, which is I'm Davis, Agent, Duke Dennis, Phantom, Chris Next Door, and Kai Cenat. Anyways, whatever, you clicked on this video to see the rise of AMP. So what am I stalling for? And before any comments, I know someone already made a video titled The Rise of AMP, but it was 8 months ago. And my vid's better. If we can finally get this intro out of the way, let's explain the origins of how AMP was created and how they are where they are today. So time to look back into the beginning. Like I mentioned before, AMP is a collection of members who mainly got their start on the platform YouTube, making videos on the game NBA 2K. They still make 2K content on their own personal channels except for Kai and Phantom. But how did all of them meet up and decide to create content and even live together? From Agent's point of view, AMP is a group that started and failed before it would eventually work. Before AMP would even start, Agent was currently living in Canada but wanted to move to the United States. Instead of moving and living alone, he had hopes to live with a bunch of people. One of the first people he would hit up would be Davis and Phantom, personally knowing them from the 2K community. AMP as of now is a group based in Atlanta, but back then they mostly considered living in LA. Agent's plan was to live in a large home in LA with upwards to 7 content creators. After some time, Agent would have a core group of people, but this wouldn't work out as some of the members he had in mind would end up not going forward with Agent's idea. At the end of it, it really was just Phantom, Davis, and Agent. Around this time is when Phantom would come up with the name AMP, and after a long period of time, Agent would finally move to America and would decide to live in Atlanta, but was still looking for people to live with. Legend of Winning, who is a YouTuber who makes videos mainly talking about the NBA, was already in the process for looking for a house. And since him and Agent were already friends by this time, Agent would just call him up and ask him why him and Agent and another friend just don't purchase a home together. Legend of Winning, aka Low, was surprisingly down to the idea, but the process of purchasing a home in Atlanta was extremely hard. They were constantly rejected, mainly due to the fact that they were all young with money. Low was almost ready to give up, but finally they were able to secure a great home in Atlanta. But Agent still wasn't satisfied, as he still wanted to make group content and really create something special on YouTube. So he called up Davis and Phantom and re-sparked that idea of AMP. Phantom and Davis were down, and slowly the motion of AMP was in the works. The group though felt as if they needed a 4th member to round it out and bring a different personality into the mix that would complement the group. Davis would be the one to recommend Duke Dennis to the group. An already established 2K player and Agent was on board. Duke himself was also completely down to the idea of AMP. The group though would immediately start having problems, as the first time they would meet up they were extremely unprepared, as problems such as cameras were dying, they didn't have enough cameramen, and not ready for certain lighting conditions. So at the start of AMP they would have plenty great ideas but couldn't seem to execute it, in the words of Agent.
In that video, cameras just died while we were recording. Like we didn't have enough cameramen, we didn't have enough cameras, we didn't prepare for lighting situations. It was just an overall bad video. The idea of it was dope, but our execution of it was really poor.
Around this time is when they would start to look for editors. They would decide on one, but they were completely dissatisfied with the video that the editor sent back. Fortunately, Agent would meet Chris, aka Chris Next Door, who makes his own YouTube videos but is also an editor and worked with other 2K YouTubers such as Solo Unati. But Agent was pessimistic that Chris would be able to edit AMP videos creatively with his own sauce on a weekly basis. Though since the video that the original editor sent back was so bad, they would decide to send the edited video to Chris, who actually saved the video and put it together so well that he blew their minds. After doing so well on this video, AMP would have no doubt that Chris would be able to perform to the standards that they were looking for. Chris was also good on camera, so he'd come down from mail-in to be in the AMP shoots. Every AMP member still wasn't living together though, so they would link up to record multiple videos at a time and store them for later. But as soon as COVID hit the group, they would run into multiple problems, since most of the locations they would film at wasn't available due to the pandemic. But let's not forget one of the biggest streamers and content creators in AMP, Kai Cenat. Kai would originally start to get large popularity after he created the Extreme Ding Dong Ditch Challenge in college. Kai at the time was already cool with Phantom, so Phantom would tell Kai about the group AMP. Phantom would ask Kai if he would be interested in AMP, so Kai would fly out to link with the group, and initially he felt like he didn't fit in. But he would quickly start to feel more comfortable and be himself.
So when I came at first, I'm not gonna lie to you, when I first came, like I felt like I didn't fit in and stuff like that. But then after I finished filming and I came into the living room and we all had like the night talks and stuff like that, it was more comfortable and stuff like that. So like,
Kai is a very down person. He's literally down to do or say anything in AMP videos. He's very bold. They knew he would fit great. Kai's energy is great, and he would gain the love of AMP's growing fan base.
So I added Kai, because I know Kai is young, and the younger you are, the more ambitious you are. So Kai getting lit, he jump into pools and shit, he's turning the fuck up. I'm turning up too and shit.
AMP is a group of many different personalities that fit perfectly. Kai fit great and would become an official AMP member. The AMP channel itself was consistent and constantly better. The editing of videos and thumbnails would improve, and AMP would really seem to have found its niche. Since every AMP member was consistent on their own dedicated platforms, this would only help AMP grow. And other channels such as the peer-to-peer podcast would build a sense of community, with them bringing on members that would become associated with AMP, such as Bruce Drop 'em Off and Gideon. Finally, around July of 2021, Agent would finally get his dream that he thought about all the way back in Canada, of owning a large home with a bunch of content creators. AMP would upload AMP house reveals showing off their newly owned home in Atlanta. I enjoyed this video in particular a lot because it shows off everyone's individual personality, and now that they were able to see each other for long periods of time, this would only benefit the AMP channel. Around this time is when AMP would hit the milestone of 1 million subscribers. Every member of AMP is really doing great for themselves. In these past few months since the house video, they would upload iconic videos to the AMP channel, such as AMP Cyphers and Practical Jokers, AMP Spicy Questions, and AMP Squid Game. These all did great for the channel. AMP shows that through triumph and a good work ethic, you can accomplish anything by any means possible. Thank you for watching. I'm Briel. Let's keep it at that.
Most of you niggas be sad, you know, but I give it 100. But most on the rags, you know, I got me that bag, you know, and I fall on a savage, ho. No, it's not a habit, so if you show bad, then I'm claiming my bag.